Welcome, students, to the fourth in our series of videos on distance learning. Today we're going to start out with some announcements. So I want to start out by sharing the PowerPoint screen that I prepared. You can expect new lessons to show up every Tuesday and every Thursday. That would be 2 lessons each week, and each time a lesson comes out, there will be a video that goes along with it. The brainstorming and resource material assignment, which was assigned earlier this week, was due yesterday. It has been graded and recorded in Progress Book. If you did not turn it in, you can still turn it in for full credit. And if you did not turn it in, it's marked as incomplete in Progress Book. 4 assignments from the first 2 weeks are due tomorrow. If you already turned them in, that's great. The grades will not appear until after this weekend or after tomorrow. They're due at midnight tomorrow. So sometimes this weekend is probably when I'll have those graded and recorded. Today we're going to try doing our first project, which is a challenge for us because you don't have the tools and machines and materials at home, and not everyone has the same thing. But we're going to try to see if we can make this work, to see if we can do projects. And by doing that, we don't have to depend on doing just written and reading assignments. So we're going to be talking about something called an end effector. An end effector is a device at the end of a robotic arm. Just like a person, a robotic arm has a shoulder, it has an elbow, it has a wrist, and then it has something at the end. Usually we think of that as a gripper. So usually we think of grippers as a type of end effector at the end of a robotic arm. 3 of these 4 end effectors are for industrial use. This third one from the left was actually made with Legos, so it's an end effector gripper as well. Actually, there are end effectors of all kinds for all types of processes. They don't have to be just grippers. This one has suction cups on it for picking up sheets of glass or metal, or in the example here, it looks like some type of food. They're used as spray painting, especially on assembly lines. So as a car or a part goes down the assembly line, it can be spray painted. Some of them, instead of a gripper, have a drill at the end for drilling holes. Some have a welder for welding parts together. This one actually has a screwdriver. And this one, instead of just one end effector, it has 4. And this would be used for industrial purposes. A project the high school students used to make was called the End Effector Challenge. Students were provided with a 1 foot long piece of wood, like the one on the left, and then materials like rubber bands, toothpicks, foam rubber, craft sticks, and paint. They could also bring in their own materials. The challenge assigned to high school students was to make an end effector that could pick up a golf ball from the center of a 16-inch diameter circle and set the golf ball on a golf tee. So you'll notice there's a golf ball sitting on a DVD. It's inside a 16-inch diameter circle, and then this is the golf tee. So they had to pick it up without putting their hands inside the circle. They could only use their end effector. They had to grip it to pick it up instead of on the golf tee. Every time they had to repeat this to make it work, lowered their grade a little bit, or if it fell off the golf tee, it lowered their grade a little bit. Most of the students really enjoyed this. Most of the students got A's or B pluses. These are examples of ones that the high school students built. Now remember that 1 foot long piece of wood. This one, they cut it up into tiny little pieces. This one they split down the middle to make a pair of pliers. This one split down the middle also to make a pair of pliers. So they had access to bandsaws, jigsaws, and drill presses. We don't have that for every student when you're doing distance learning. So ours will not be looking like this, but I think we can still do the assignment. You'll notice this one looks kind of like a shark. It's got the fin at the top. It's got gills on the side. It had some teeth in front. So they called this one jaws. This one was called tiger pliers. This is tiger claw. This one in the bottom middle is called the notch. So they all had names. These are examples of some of the names that they used. The quicker picker up used to be an advertisement for, I think, Bounty paper towels. So that student used that name. So those are examples of the names. Now, if we wanted to try to make this work at the middle school, there's some challenges. First of all, issue 1, learning about robotics within the limitations of distance learning presents some unique challenges. One problem is that not all students do have the same materials available. This issue was addressed in the previous assignment, so you should have an idea of what materials you have to work with. On this slide, you'll see the names of some of the materials that Princeton Middle School students submitted that they thought most students might have available at home. So for example, balloons. Not everybody has balloons, but it wouldn't be unusual to see balloons in somebody's house. If we drop down to bobby pins, it wouldn't be unusual to see that in a lot of people's houses. Um, Empty lipstick container, especially if there's girls in the household, you'd probably find those. Um, Glue, not everybody has it. There's actually some ways that you can make it described on YouTube and on the internet. Most people have paper or paper towels. So there's a long list of materials. Not everybody has all of them, but it wouldn't be unusual to find most of these in a lot of households. Issue 2. Another limitation of distance learning is that not all students have access to the same tools for making projects. Some students may have power tools, some have hand tools, while others have a pair of scissors and a kitchen knife, or maybe you have no tools at all. I would think a lot of people probably have scissors and they probably have some type of knife that they could cut something with. Issue 3. Finally, another problem is that you don't have the 16-inch circle as your arena. We're calling that the arena. And you probably don't have a golf tee to set a golf ball on. Also, everyone's not going to have the same size ball to pick up with their gripper. So we're going to try this project, and these are the different things we're going to try to make it work. Learning about robotics should not be all reading assignments and written work. Problem solving and hands-on experience should be part of the course. With this in mind, we are going to attempt an end effector challenge project. Guidelines for adapting this as a project are on the following slides. The ball. The ball to be picked up can range in size from a marble to a golf ball. The ball can be made of plastic, rubber, wood, or styrofoam. If you cannot find a ball, make one out of clay, silly putty, Play-Doh, or even use a rock. And I'll show you examples of 4 different balls that I've come up with. The arena. The circle you place the ball in should be 8.5 inches in diameter. This is the same width as a sheet of notebook paper. So if you make a circle on a sheet of notebook paper as wide as the paper, you will have an 8.5 inch diameter circle. Of course, you can make your circle out of any material, not just paper. And I'll show you today how to make one. The gripper. You can make your gripper from any of the resource materials identified in the previous assignment. If you decide to use Legos, Tinker Toys, or any kind of construction toys, you still need to incorporate scratch-built materials into your gripper. So if you had Legos, for example, and you could build a gripper from that, you still need to incorporate some just scratch-type materials, like the ones that were on the list. The rules. The object of the challenge is to make an end effector and pick up the ball from the center of the circle and set the ball outside the circle. So you don't need to set it on a golf tee. Your hands cannot go inside the circle. That's the whole point of this, is you're trying to pick up the ball without your hand going inside the circle. You cannot push or pull the ball out of the circle. You can't bat it or anything like that. We're trying to grip it and pick it up. Number 4, you cannot scoop up the ball. It must be gripped. So for example, you can't make a fork that would go under the ball and pick it up that way. I want you to actually try to grip it. And 5, your end effector must have a name on the project. Once you're done, you're going to make a video of your slide on this screen. You can make it a small video, or you can make it full screen. And when you try to put pictures or videos on your assignments, you need to use the insert command. And it's the insert command at the top of the Google Classroom slide, not the menu all the way at the top of your screen. So you use insert and you should be able to make that work. So now for demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make the arena, the ideas for a ball, and ideas for end effectors that I came up with. So I'm going to switch to a camera now. Okay, so now we've got a camera here with a sheet of paper, and even if you have writing on the paper, you can still do this assignment. So first of all, we need to make this 8.5 inch circle. So if we take a pair of scissors and cut a strip of paper off the end, And then we fold this in half. We now have a piece of paper that is half as wide as the paper itself. Next, I'm going to take a piece of cardstock. I found this could be a piece of junk mail, a postcard. In this case, it was some type of food came in this. And it's cardstock, so that's why I'm using it. It's a little bit thicker, thicker than just paper, and that'll make this work better. So you remember when we made the hodometer project, how you drew the big circle? We're going to do something along the same lines with this piece of cardstock. So you can use a sewing needle, a pin. I've got a tack here. I'm going to put a hole in this end, and that would be the center of our circle. And then we need to make another hole this distance away. That distance is half the 8.5 inch circle. So I'm going to come out here and put a little dot, and then I'm going to make a hole. And this hole has to be a little bit bigger so we can stick an ink pen through it. All right. So there's my tack. It's close to the middle. We need to be able to get our ink pen through that hole. All right, so it's a hole out like the way we did the hodometer. And now we're going to call that the arena. That's the circle. And we're going to put the ball in the middle of that circle and not lift it up. Now, as far as the ball goes, if you've got a ball like a ping pong ball, that would be great. If it doesn't stay where it's supposed to, you can take like the cap off of a pop bottle, put it in the middle, and set the ball on it like that. This is off a milk jug. This is a bottle cap. I can put that upside down and set the ball on there. If it doesn't say, then I would flip it over. Now, if you don't have a ping pong ball or a golf ball, you could make a ball like out of clay or Play-Doh, or this is just a big Tootsie Roll. And I rolled it up like this and made a ball out of it. And I put some flour on it because it was kind of sticky. And that would work as something to pick up. This is a nut of some type that a squirrel had and must have dropped outside in the woods, and I picked that up. That could work. Or if you can't find any of those, you can probably find a rock. So there's a rock sitting in the middle. Now, as far as materials to work with to make your end effector, a lot of people have paper towels, and I think probably everybody has paper towel tubes. So on this one, this is the cap off of a milk bottle, and I stuck that in the end of the paper towel tube and put some masking tape around it. Then I took a Pepsi bottle. This was the bottom half of the Pepsi bottle, and I cut around it and got a strip, and the strip looks like this. I don't know. Yeah, you can probably see it a little bit. I took some fishing line. It could be any type of string, and I ran it through a straw, and it's taped to the cardboard tube. So the string is coming out this end, and when I pull it, it pulls that piece of plastic, which I think is hard for you to see. Yeah, you can see it now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rock out here in the middle. My hand is outside the circle. When I pull the string, it grips the rock. I could pick it up and set it down outside the circle and let it go. So that is one idea I had. Another idea I had was took another one of these cardboard tubes. In this one, I taped a couple craft sticks to. I put a rubber band on it, and I had to put some tape out here at the end. Instead of string this time, I used ribbon. A lot of people wrap birthday presents, Christmas presents, all types of presents. So you probably got some ribbon around. And when I pull the ribbon, it stretches this rubber band out. So if my rock is out here in the middle, and I pull that rubber band like this, put it down over it, This might not be the best idea for a rock, but I'm able to pick it up and then release it without touching it. So that was another idea I had. Another idea was I had some cardboard from a cardboard box, and I actually made this one really long. I scored the cardboard like we've learned about in class, and I folded it. So it's folded over 4 times. Let's see, there you can see it. And I took little pieces of duct tape, and that could be duct tape, masking tape, any type of tape, taped it together. So it's a hollow tube. Then I took a stick. I found this out in the woods, just a stick from a plant. And this time I took a milk jug. Here's the milk jug I used. And I cut the side of it out. So I made a couple of little thin edges here and put tape around it. Hold that up so you can see it. And then I put it in my cardboard tube that I made. So now when I get this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. When I pull the stick, let's see, it makes the loop smaller. So now let's try this again. Got my arena set up, got the ball. Let's try a different ball this time. This time I'm using the Tootsie Roll ball. Pull on the stick, makes the loop smaller, and then I can set it outside the circle. That's my third one I tried. And then finally I thought, what if you really didn't have very much material at all to work with? So I tried this. This is a couple sticks out of the woods. I put tape around it, but you wouldn't need to put tape around it. I took a rubber band and wrapped it around, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, and then took a couple rubber bands at the end. So what I've made is something like a giant sized pair of pliers. So let's go out here. This time we'll try the ping pong ball. Oops, got to put it inside the arena. So it looks like that. And my hands are outside the circle. I can squeeze, pick it up, and then let it go. So those are 4 different ideas, but you may come up with something totally different, and that would be fine. So we've gone over how to make the arena, ideas for coming up with a ball, and then ideas for making the end effective. Once again, if you ever have questions, don't hesitate to email me. You can email me through your mail program, your email program, or through Google Classroom. We also have a weekly Zoom meeting on Wednesdays from 12 to 2. Only had a couple people join us yesterday, so I hope to see more of you this next week. So like I said, if you have any questions, text me, let me know, or email me, let me know. Stay safe out there. We're watching the news every day, listening to the governor's conference, see how things are going with this virus situation. Hopefully we can get back to school and have a little bit of time to use the tools, materials we're supposed to be working with. Chances are that's probably not going to happen. We're just going to have to keep checking the district website, finding out what Dr. Maxim's messages are, and communicating that to one another. If you know of anyone that's in robotics that hasn't gotten on Google Classroom yet, tell them how to do that, or send me an email, or I can even give them a call. So keep each other advised about those things. So till we meet again, which you'll see another video next week. And I just noticed at the top of the screen it says Tuesday. Just ignore that. The slide that I showed you at the beginning had the correct date and time on it. All right, see you next time. Thanks.